This is the Business of Apps podcast, bringing you actionable insights from the leaders of the global app industry and the world's fastest growing apps. You can find more app news, data and analysis over at businessofapps.com.
Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. On this show, we invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful but brief. In this episode, we have Anton Tatarynovich, Senior ASO Consultant at Phiture. Anton, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone.
Terrific. Thank you for coming. All right. So every once in a while in business, to be able to leap forward, you don't necessarily need a new service, but a fresh look at the ones you've been implementing so far, and the idea how to combine it, how to make it work together, hand in hand. And this episode, Anton will show us an example of that for app store optimization and performance marketing. But before jumping into this topic, let's talk about you, Anton. Please tell us about your background. How did you get involved into app marketing for the first place?
Yeah, sure. So the company that actually gave me the start in the industry, kind of mobile app industry, was Splitmetrics back in Minsk, Belarus. So I joined it as a sales manager and then was working as a marketing manager and eventually sort of transitioned into head of marketing position over the years. And so through kind of working with partners in that position, producing a lot of ASO related content and just working with our products, which are for Splitmetrics, the A/B testing platform for ASO specialists, and also the platform for managing Apple search ads, I kind of got a grasp of the industry. And then eventually I ended up joining Phiture here in Berlin. And that's pretty much the place where I sort of got in very deep into details of not just ASO, but kind of mobile marketing as a whole. And so that's where I'm at right now. That's kind of story in short.
All right, got you. So, other members of the Phiture team was on the podcast previously, but just for the sake of folks who are hearing right now about Phiture for the first time, let's give them a quick intro. So what do you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So we're a 100-person mobile growth agency based here in Berlin. We're pretty famous in the industry for our kind of content and proprietary frameworks around mobile growth. You might have heard about Mobile Growth Stack or ASO Stack. We also published ASO book back in the day and are actually working on a new edition of that right now. The agency itself works on ASO, retention and performance marketing services mainly. However, lately we're actually expanding into more kind of bespoke services around subscription optimization, kind of tech stack audit and whatnot. So that's the agency.
Got it. So I imagine it's not like 100 folks sitting in the same office, right?
No, it's not. We're pretty much everybody is in Berlin, but we were actually around 40 people when COVID started. Back then, we were all in the office. However, while we were remote, we grew to 100 right now. So right now, some people already can come back to the office, but most of us are on remote work, kind of just tuning in from home via Zoom. So yeah, that's how it's been for us. And I imagine for a lot of companies as well, who are like sort of transitioning from partially remote or working in the office to pretty much remote work all the time. Right now, we can be 100% remote. So.
Gotcha. If I remember correctly, folks on Twitter and Facebook are still working remotely for the most part. So yeah, it's quite common practice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure being involved in app store optimization for a number of years, you may feel like everybody should know what is app store optimization. Some of our listeners may hear about it, but not quite getting the idea. So let's give them a quick definition.
Yeah, for sure. So simply put, ASO is a set of activities an app publisher does to make sure that his app gets prominent on the App Store or Google Play, that he gets more installs from the App Store. Main parts of the ASO traditionally are visibility optimization through keyword optimization, basically making sure that your app is easy to find And then conversion rate optimization, which is when a user finds your app, how to make sure they install it or convert. That's why it's conversion rate optimization. So that's sort of the standard definition of it. Keyword optimization, testing, conversion rate optimization. However, I would also argue that it's a little more broad than that, especially right now, I think, with the amount of data we see and can get in ASO. I think it's actually much more than just getting more installs on the app stores through keyword optimization. A lot of stuff we work with can help with user research, things like rebranding, which we actually did for some of our clients, aligning with performance marketing, CRM teams. So essentially, to me personally, it's looking more right now like a door into growth marketing, where through ASO you definitely optimize your app on app stores, but B, actually may identify various areas for improvement and growth in other channels. So, but I'm pretty sure we'll cover that in a few minutes. For now, yeah, definitely. That's pretty much the setup, I would say.
Right. So the service itself right now is kind of going through its mature phase. It's time to make it part of a family of other services, because it's not new anymore. It was new back in 2013, 2012. It's 2021. Like, it's been a number of years has passed since then. So it's time to make it part of the toolbox of other services.
Yeah. On that point, I think a lot of companies still approach ASO as like a young industry. So even though it's been around for quite a few years, it's not at the level of like performance marketing. A lot of companies still approach it as a sort of as a pretty new thing to do. There are not a lot of, let's say, senior level ASO managers on the market, which makes hiring new consultants and people pretty difficult. So based off that, it still seems like the industry is pretty young and new. So, but for us on Phiture, we're sort of on the edge of that. We're kind of working with ASO day to day, and we're trying to think about what's next. And that kind of expanding the scope of ASO into trying to align and work with other channels, I think is what's next for us.
Gotcha. So it's 2021, and many app marketing services are semi-automated. There's just no way around it. To be efficient, you need to save time and energy to focus on brainstorming problems that only a human mind can crack. So what ASO tools do we have today, and how do they help us to collect data?
Right. So for ASO specifically, I'd split them into two kind of major groups. One would be just core tools you absolutely need, like essential tools. And then there is a set of supplementary tools, which are useful, but we don't work with them day to day, let's say. So in terms of essential tools, two main ones are obviously App Store Connect and Google Play Store consoles. That's pretty much our high level analytics. That's what we check day to day to understand how the app is doing. The consoles provide a ton of metrics. I'm pretty sure that every app publisher kind of looks into those. For ASO, I guess main ones are impressions, downloads, conversion rates based off like the traffic source. That's the main thing we look at. Also, it should be said the functionality of those consoles is slightly different. So for example, for Google Play, we can also get analytics on like keyword level, which is extremely useful for keyword optimization. That's something we don't really have on the App Store, in the App Store Connect. Also, in Google Console, Google Play Console, there is a inbuilt A/B testing functionality, which is key for us when we are doing conversion rate optimization for testing various concepts for different markets. So those are definitely main tools. Another one, which I would say is essential for an ASO specialist, is special ASO tool like App Tweak, Mobile Action, App Follow. There is a bunch of those. Those tools are used for keyword research, keywords tracking our category ranks. where the app was featured and when, kind of competitive analysis, looking into ratings and reviews. That's a little more specific, but I think that in terms of data, what we get from those tools is absolutely essential, especially for the visibility optimization, because we get keyword volumes, how we rank for certain keywords. We can get historical data from them, a whole bunch of data from those tools. And I think that if you get that bundle of like the consoles and a special ASO tool, whatever you're using, you're pretty much good to go for like ASO optimization. Now, in terms of additional tools, which I mentioned, like let's say a second category, there are some specialized tools we work with, like for example, special tools for ratings and reviews, like AppBot. Those tools allow us to go really in depth on ratings and reviews, check overall user sentiment, check what people are saying, kind of month over month changes, word clouds, all of that might be pretty useful if you know how to work with that data.
Right.
Then you have third-party A/B testing tools like Splitmetrics, StoreMaven. There is a bunch of those. They've been used mostly as a workaround for an app store because you could not really A/B test for an app store. However, right now,
Yeah,
Apple
until
announced
recently.
their inbuilt features. It's not live yet, but I imagine that when it will be live, the prominence of those tools will decrease. However, they might be used for some other cases which are not always ASO related. And then just general market research tools for the apps, specifically like Sensor Tower, for example, where you can also look into the ads run by your competitors, share of downloads, market shares of certain apps. It's just the opportunities are endless. Like the amount of data you can get from all of that is pretty incredible. So I think the focus is very important, but that's pretty much the toolkit I think we work with.
I think, my feeling is that for A/B testing tools from Apple, it's going to be like a kind of a similar gap like we have between Google Maps and Apple Maps. Apple Maps are great, but there's even for a huge company as Apple, it's not possible to have leap forward and just leap through the decades of work, and some expertise really hard to keep up. So I think there's going to be a value for third-party A/B testing tools for at least for foreseeable future, even having Apple A/B testing tools in hand.
Sure, it might be the
Oh,
case, and there is still a lot of unknowns for the App Store. So we
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really know how exactly this will work. So we'll see, But it's very exciting.
that's for sure, because folks have been asking for this feature for years. Uh, Since the topic of our today's conversation is how ASO can play a role and be helpful for other marketing techniques, let's put together ASO and performance marketing and tell people how these two can work together. I think one or two examples will be helpful.
Sure. So I think here the first thing is it's really key to align performance marketing and ASO for apps, especially where the share of downloads coming from paid sources is substantial. For some of our clients, it might be over 60%, over 70%. And in those cases, kind of traditionally, you look at search conversion rates in ASO and you look at search visibility. But for apps like that, where the majority of installs come from like Google ads or Facebook
Mhm.
ads or whatever the source is, it's actually the bigger third-party conversion rate would be the bigger kind of lever to pull to increase total conversion. So for example, in Google Play, you can go and actually benchmark yourself versus your peer group in terms of third-party conversion rate. And if it's below the baseline, if it's below what's in general happening for the peer group, I think first thing to do would be to investigate the kind of consistency and alignment between performance marketing creatives and your App Store creatives or Google Play Store creatives, because sometimes, the app is just sort of not recognizable. The user should not get that. How how do I formulate that? Disruptive feeling of when he clicks on an ad, he should recognize the app he actually arrives to and want to download that. So trying to figure out the consistent user journey from the ad click to the actual product page experience would be very important. It's not to say that the creative should be the same in the ad and on the store page, but we need to make sure that the app is recognizable, that the overall sort of design look and feel is same, tone of voice is same. If we're talking mostly about a certain feature in the ad creative and it's really popular, obviously on your app store listing, it should be pretty prominent as well. But then again, I would say we need to remember about balance, because even when you do build out that alignment with performance marketing, there will still be a substantial share of users coming from search. So the product page should showcase your app very well for users coming from performance marketing channels, just as well as for users coming from organic channels. And then this balance, it's up to an app developer to decide like where he should lean more into based of the, I guess, traffic breakdown, like where the users are actually coming from. So to me, that kind of consistency is probably the biggest thing right now. Also, we're testing a lot in ASO, and we're testing a lot on Google Play. We will be testing even more with the arrival of App Store, A/B testing. And the learnings we sometimes are able to get from those tests are pretty interesting. And I think that sharing that information with performance marketing teams might make their life a little easier in terms of trying to optimize, just trying to come up with new creative tactics, trying to identify towards which, I guess, design or tone of voice or type of messaging users lean into in a particular market. So if the first thing was kind of alignment for purposes of actually increasing your, improving your performance metrics, conversion rates, that one is more on the process side of things, like actually compiling that list of learnings, sharing them in between teams, making sure that you always have something new to test. We did that for one of the clients. So far, it's been pretty successful, I would say. So yeah, I think that's pretty important. And then the third one, which also relates to performance marketing, would be Apple Search Ads. But I imagine that we'll discuss that a little later. For now, I would just probably stop here.
All right. Yeah, I think like useful thing to do for many companies will be pick up any specific brand they know and just track the way that it's been consistent in the way that the brand is presented on the App Store and other ads people can see on their other media places. So you can get a sense, like, to get exactly what you're saying. It shouldn't be identical, but you always know for sure that this is the same app, this is the same company. It essentially just look like the same company. It is the same product.
Totally.
Okay, yeah. So having laid out how ASO may work in conjunction with performance marketing, let's give people kind of a broad set of expectations. Obviously, it's really hard to say how specifically, what specific results they may expect, but what is possible? Let's put it this way.
Yeah, sure. So maybe to take a step back and talk about setting expectations, I think one of the things which needs to be mentioned is that realistically, for a lot of app publishers, the performance marketing team is sort of where the budget is managed. That team sort of sets the music very often. So I think realistically, that kind of buy-in should be on the side of performance marketing. And realistically, it should be easier to align ASO with performance marketing and not vice versa. So that would be the first thing. Just look at what's being successful with performance marketing, try to get their learnings, adapt them in ASO, and just see what happens. Ideally, the results which we should see are obviously increasing conversion rate from third-party or app and web referrer traffic. Ideally, it will increase conversion rate on your app store listing, and then might result in actually improving kind of upstream performance marketing metrics. That would be the biggest change. As I said, those paid UA metrics may improve as a result of the kind of conversion rate optimization down the funnel, but also as those successful hypotheses from ASO might get implemented into paid ads, and if they really work out well, you may arrive at higher TTR, for example. And then also just less time on brainstorming and roadmaps planning. I know that for a lot of our clients, like ideation is a big problem. They're just literally struggling at a certain point with coming up with what else to test, how else to approach, their creative optimization. And this approach, aligning ASO with performance marketing, could actually happen because this happens on the both sides. And I know that in some companies, for example, ASO tests a lot, and in some companies, performance marketing teams do a lot of work to constantly test and see what does and what does not work. So just sharing those learnings in between teams in some type of systematic fashion should definitely just improve the longer term planning, conversion rate optimization, creative optimization, I would say.
Yeah, just remember, guys, you're working under the same roof. You're not rivals, you're partners. You should be able to share experience and push the envelope together. So generally speaking, when we talk about driving traffic to the app or the App Store, it's either about native ASO, the native traffic via App Store optimization, or paid ads. And of course, when we say paid ads, we basically mean Apple search ads as the major driver. This is the only platform that allows to drive installs as you pay, specifically on the App Store. So can you touch briefly on how App Store optimization and Apple search ads can work together?
Sure. So there's actually quite a lot that can be done. And again, I would split that into kind of the more or less kind of traditional ways of working, and then some of the new approaches which we start to notice. So first, from the analytical standpoint, for ASO managers working inside the App Store Connect, what we see is kind of search. When you look at impressions and downloads, one of your traffic sources is search, and actually Apple search ads is attributed to search. So first thing, the alignment between the team who runs Apple search ads and does ASO could actually help you split the kind of Apple search ads downloads versus organic search downloads. Without that alignment, it might be pretty tricky to understand what is the share of organics actually, because the App Store Connect by itself does not show that. So that will be the first thing. And then also two things which we usually see work in Apple search ads and ASO work hand in hand. First would be conversion rate optimization through creative sets testing in Apple search ads. That's been sort of a workaround in absence of native A/B testing. And second is leveraging Apple search ads kind of keywords data for keyword optimization. So sharing top performing keywords, for example, and trying to include them into metadata to improve your organic visibility as well. Now, in terms of kind of new developments, there's been so Mobile Action actually identified a way to influence organic keyword rankings through Apple search ads. The way they do that, and if you're interested, you can just go to Mobile Action blog, and there is an article about kind of improving ASO with Apple search ads. But the way they do that is that they identified a number of factors which influence your organic ranking for a keyword. Things like total installs per keyword, installs velocity per keyword, TTR per keyword, stuff like that. And those metrics are actually might be directly impacted by Apple search ads. So it seems that selecting a few what we call starred keywords, very important keywords, and actually running ads for them in a specific ad group might impact those metrics, and as a second order effect, actually impact your organic visibility for those keywords. It's not an industry best practice yet, but it's like a new development, relatively new development, which may be tested basically if there is a particular organic keyword for which you want to be visible, but you really struggle to rank high. Again, if you're interested about that, be free to go to Mobile Actions blog. I think the blog post is called like how to improve ASO with Apple Search Ads, something like that. But it's very interesting.
That's for sure. It's one of the recent update blog posts, I suppose. And just for the sake of the audience, when we say app downloads velocity, we don't mean that the app is actually running somewhere. It's just the number of downloads that app is getting for a short period of time for a specific keyword, right? Keyword, like within a day, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, it's always a delight to watch WWDC. Millions of developers are waiting for this day in every June, and this year Apple introduced a few important updates that will benefit app marketers directly. Let's talk about them.
Sure. So they've introduced a few sort of groundbreaking updates to App Store functionality for publishers, which will make it much more interesting now to kind of market apps on the App Store. And maybe much easier to do that. So three main features, or actually four main features, which were announced. First is what they call product page optimization, or essentially A/B testing, similar to what we have in Google Play. This has been kind of awaited by everybody in the ASO industry for a long time, and we're pretty excited about that. Users and app publishers actually will be able to test their icons, screenshots, videos as well. Basically A/B testing them and figuring out what their users like most for conversion rate optimization. There are quite a few unknowns about that feature yet. So for example, the alignment of like those A/B tests with Apple Search Ads, or will the A/B tested versions be visible in search? We don't know that, and it will be actually pretty important to figure out. But I would say that's the key feature we're all waiting for. The second one they announced is custom product pages. It's somewhat similar to the custom store listings on Google Play. And that feature essentially allows you to create a separate product page for your app, which targets some specific element of it. So let's say this is an e-commerce app, and your users clicked on an ad with like male shoes. You may actually create a separate custom product page where on screenshot numbers 1 or 2, you'll have male shoes, and kind of apparently that might also increase your conversion rate. Those pages will be available through a custom URL, and Apple said that it should roll out around early 2022. When this rolls out, I think the Apple Search Ads, what is it called? Creative sets. Those will be kind of deprecated, so we'll not have them. Instead, we'll have custom product pages. And then they also announced in-app events. That's the ability for app publishers, let's say you're Netflix and you release a new show. That's the ability to actually separately promote that. There is a list of things you may promote. It might be a major update to an app. It might be some type of new content. Or if it's Fortnite, it might be some new season of Fortnite. Should be pretty flexible and interesting for those types of apps. There is no date yet for when this will be available. And then the last thing they announced is just a few new metrics in the console, which is probably less exciting, but on the technical side is also pretty interesting for us as ASO managers. So yeah, those four things, especially A/B testing and custom product pages, which should also, speaking about alignment with performance marketing, should help us quite a lot to build those kind of seamless user journeys for users, increase conversion rate, and increase performance marketing. Well, performance. Really looking forward to the release of those.
So all those features will be available for developers and marketers once iOS 15 will come out of beta in September. right?
No, we don't really know that. So for custom product pages, they pretty explicitly said that it will be live in 2022.
2021. Yeah.
And then for A/B testing, yeah, we expect it to be live around early September. But looking at how they released, for example, those little tags on product pages, which tell you how kind of what type of data is being tracked, it was announced a while ago, and then the rollout was actually pretty slow. So we hope that it'll be early September, maybe mid-September, but the specific date was not announced yet, so we don't really know.
Got it. We'll see. Okay, so we've covered the major topic on the table, and this is the point in this show where I'm asking my every guest just a few quick questions to kind of paint a better picture of who they are for the sake of the audience so they can know them better. And here we go. Question number one. What smartphone do you have now? Have you been switching back and forth between these two giants, iOS and Android, or just staying aligned all the time?
Right. Yeah. So right now I have iPhone 12, but actually before that I had an Android phone, like a Xiaomi phone, and yeah, I've been switching back and forth. So I'm not really a big fan of any of the platforms, but for now, yeah, that's iPhone. Enjoy that.
Gotcha. So it depends on the model, right? No dedication.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump back in time. What was your first mobile phone?
My first mobile phone was a used Sony Ericsson K500 when I was back in school. I really enjoyed that. It accommodated one full music track and a few ringtones, which was like amazing. Really, yeah, like that. And then before that, I had my mom's Nokia phone, but
And the
that was
battery
just
could last for a
part
week.
time. I don't remember, but probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just yeah, not specifically for a week, but obviously more than 24 hours is these
That's
days.
true.
Imagine you left your smartphone at home. What would be the most missing feature for you?
I think it'll be kind of messaging, so like Telegram probably, which I use as my messenger, and then let's say Spotify for podcasts or music. Yeah, those will be the two.
All right, when you're looking at your iPhone 12 right now, and you go like, would be great if that thing can do this or that. Could be software or hardware or both. What stuff you're waiting for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, professionally, I'm definitely excited about kind of App Store A/B testing and all of those features. That's
Yeah.
what I'm really, really looking at. That probably should make the App Store experience much more pleasant because it will be optimized for users, but we'll see. And especially because I sort of enjoy the conversion rate optimization, creative side of things, all of that, and kind of the intersection with A/B testing and just user research is fascinating. In terms of kind of my personal, let's say, digital life, I'm personally quite interested in media, as in like news media, blogs, newsletters, stuff like that. And it's not like I'm excited. I'm actually pretty disappointed by the fact that so far there is no specific kind of news media for kind of younger generation, because I imagine people who are now like 15, 16, I can't imagine them like reading Financial Times, but just as well, I don't think that they'll be consuming news on like TikTok. So there should be something in between. And so far, it seems like there is no solution for that. So I'm looking forward to somebody coming up with something smart and fresh and new for news and for media as a whole.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody who can get 3 parts tech, know what kids will be listening to, like the format and the medium itself, and have venture money to put it together. Okay, it's pretty tough. Before I let you go, how can people get in touch with you and know more information about what you do?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn at Anton Tatarynovich or via email at phiture.com.
Terrific.
Probably
Great.
at email will be easier because the surname is just very hard to pronounce. So yeah, just email Anton@phiture.com would be probably the easiest one.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you for coming on our podcast, and thank you for your time, Anton. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. And that was Anton Tatarynovich, Senior ASO Consultant at Phiture. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. We release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you'll be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Apps podcast. For more, head on over to businessofapps.com.